This is Capital Views, and I'm Mike Bradner, and we're talking to Brian Rogers, who's the Chancellor of the University of Alaska. And Brian, tell us about the university a little bit as a whole. It's a really broad-based, far-reaching institution.
It is, Mike. You know, the university was created really by an act of Congress as an agricultural college and school of mines 100 years ago. Next month actually was the initial act. And then in the 30s became the University of Alaska. Really at the time focused on the Fairbanks campus. That was the university. Then in the 50s we started developing some community campuses, Anchorage Community College, Ketchikan being the first two in the early 50s. In the 60s evolved to cover a little bit more, providing more services. And really in the 70s evolved into the three primary four-year institutions in Fairbanks, Anchorage, and Juneau, and then with community campuses spread throughout the rest of Alaska. In the mid-1980s, when oil took a dive, really the current structure came together with one university, one university system, three universities that are separately accredited, UAF, UAA, and UAS, UA Southeast.
And each one of those has an outreach set of communities.
That's right. So UA Southeast, for example, campuses in Juneau, Sitka, and Ketchikan, University of Alaska Anchorage with campuses in Anchorage, Mat-Su, Kenai, Kodiak, and Prince William Sound, UAF with Fairbanks, and then 5 rural campuses from Dillingham to Kotzebue and the interior of Alaska. And then in addition to the core instructional side, on the public service side, UAF has the Cooperative Extension Service with agents all over Alaska, from Ketchikan all the way to Nome.
And tell us what that is.
So the Cooperative Extension Service includes everything from 4-H to really how do you extend what we learn at a university to the public at large. So it's understanding food processing or energy or animal care and sort of the everyday living. And in fact, cooperative extension probably touches more Alaskans than we have students at the university.
I mean, they don't think of it
Absolutely.
as a separate sort of institution.
And then in the 80s was created the Marine Advisory Program, which is really for fishing communities what the cooperative extension is for the other rural communities. And so we have MAP agents in a number of our rural communities really providing support to the fishing industry. And then UAF, in addition, has research sites at Toolik Lake on the North Slope, in Seward, in Juneau, in Kodiak, and in Mat-Su, all part of the research mission of UAF. So we're reaching each of the 3 primary missions of a university, teaching students at the sites, doing research all over the world for that matter,
now,
and
UAF
then serving the public.
Has a particularly broad outreach to rural Alaska, to Bethel, to Dillingham, and to the campuses. Tell us about those programs.
And really that's part of the Border Region's commitment to people who are committed to place. How do we serve the educational needs of people who are working for the rural health corporations, working for the village corporations, living in communities? And so our instructional offerings in Dillingham, in Bethel, in Nome, in Kotzebue, and in their outlying communities are really designed to serve what do people need for vocational and academic support there. And many of the students will start there and then migrate to either Anchorage or to Fairbanks to complete a 4-year degree.
You have programs for undergraduates from those regions.
Yes.
In the local culture. And
that's right.
Their regional interests.
Regional interests. You know, the biggest would be healthcare. I mean, and we do that in collaboration with UAA. UAA has the statewide responsibility for nursing and the core health programs, and so we work pretty closely together with them to serve cohorts in rural Alaska. But you've also got things, everything from energy to basic English and math, the kinds of things that prepare people for the rest of college.
And we even really have a medical school in the WWAMI program.
Essentially we do in the WWAMI program, with officially 2 years in Anchorage and 2 years at Washington, but it's really approaching 3 years now in Anchorage, and that really is Alaska's medical school. This year, we're starting what is Alaska's veterinary school with 2 years at UAF, followed by 2 years at Colorado State University, using the WWAMI model, but with a cohort of 10 students that'll be starting this summer in Fairbanks.
Now, the medical students get a degree from University of Washington.
Yes, that's right. And it'll be the same thing with the veterinary students. Their degree will be a Colorado State degree. They're really enrolled as Colorado State students throughout, but we're providing that opportunity to a cohort of Alaska students.
And really, we're one of the lowest cost institutions in the country. I mean, we've tried to keep education available at a low cost.
Absolutely. On the tuition side, there are 3 or 4 states that tuition and fees are lower than Alaska's, but we are, for 4-year and graduate, as low as it goes. Because we have a merged system, because we have both the 2-year and the 4-year in institutions, our 2-year tuition is at the higher end compared with community colleges elsewhere. And it's a problem we've been trying to work on. But as a result, the debt load our students have when they get out is lower than the national average. It's still more than I'd like it to be. And we've offered substantial financial aid. So UAF alone giving out more than $1 million a year in private scholarships. We've got federal funds.
And
then
the
we've got
scholarship program that is bringing students in.
Yes, so the UA Scholars, the Alaska Performance Scholar, all ways of trying to help, and student work opportunities, all trying to defray the cost somewhat.
Well, that's, you know, pretty amazing. You think of the university as just sort of a 4-year college, and it's not that. It's
very
many
different
other
today.
things.
And you know, one of the things, some of the fastest growing areas have been our online education. You know, while our enrollment has been flat to slight decline overall, our online enrollment is up 10% per year,
Now, you
every
actually
year.
went to UA.
I went to UA, and now
then
it's
to
now
Harvard
UAF.
too,
Yeah,
yeah.
Harvard Kennedy School for my master's degree. Yeah.
So you're sort of a homegrown commodity.
Yeah,
And
yeah. I think the first chancellor that actually went to school at UAF and made it all the way
well, that's
to leave the
interesting.
institution.
We sort of hope to keep it at as low a cost as we can, but now we're facing financial exigencies that can, you know, control our
Yeah.
destiny in some ways.
So clearly, you know, we all understand that the price of oil is coming down. We're going to have to downsize the university some. So we've asked students to pay a little bit more. They get it. We just did a 5% tuition increase, and not one student testified against it. We're going to try to stay at that low end, but I think we're all going to have to bear a part of what is a statewide problem.
The region set the tuition level, but the legislature sort of has an overall sense they should express of what they want their university to be.
Yes.
You know, they want to keep it a low-cost institution or not. I mean,
Yeah, and the legislature funds about 44% of our overall budget. The rest we have to go out and earn in research grants, in tuition, and in other sources. And you know, so that 44% is going to come down by some amount. We're going to look in part to other revenues and in part to reducing our expenditures to make up the difference.
Brian, we're out of time.
Happens every
This has
time.
been Capitol Views. I'm Mike Bradner, and we've been talking to Brian Rogers, the Chancellor of the University of Alaska Fairbanks.
Thank you.